Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. So welcome to our Saturday morning session. We are continuing on the journey of Mundaka Upanishad, Mundaka 2 part 1. Now this Upanishad, actually this part of the Upanishad reveals the entire manifestation of the universe. How the universe came into being, what is the source of that manifestation, and what is the order of that manifestation, how that manifestation happened. And this is actually, as we recall, this is an answer to the question raised by Saunaka Muni to Rishi Angira, and he is explaining one by one various aspects of the mysteries of this universe. So this is, one of the most profound part of the universe. And this is to some extent related to the Purush Sukt of Rig Veda. So this is also actually briefly mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. And we discussed it briefly when we were, discussing Bhagavad Gita. But today we will conclude this part 1 of Mundaka 2. But before we conclude, let us recall how all that, what we call unfolding of the universe happens. So various verses in this Upanishad have told us how the different, elements of this universe came into being. How the physical universe, the entire Akash, the Prithvi, the sun, the moon, all the planets, all the air, Agni, water, all those, how they came into being. This has been described. Then how the Vanaspati, the variety of plants and herbs came into being. And then how variety of life, including human life, came into being. And this part of the Upanishad starts with a very profound verse, which actually gives a complete idea of what this universe is. So let us see that verse once again. It says that as the thousands of flames come out of the fire and then they dissolve back into the same fire, similarly a variety of manifestations come out of this supreme power, Akshar, Brahman, whatever name we give, universal consciousness, and they dissolve back into the same power. So this is the very first mantra of this part, which clearly tells that everything originates from the Supreme and dissolve back into the Supreme. Now, one very important part of this mantra is that the Agni can appear and manifest itself, and then it can also dissolve without manifestation. The fire exists all the time, but it only manifests whenever it is needed. It doesn't manifest all the time. This is a very special quality of fire. So this is also applicable to the Supreme. Supreme can manifest in the form of an avatar, and he may not manifest in any form at all. He can be completely Nirgun Nirakar. So this is also explained in this verse, that as the fire exists in the manifested form and also without manifestation, similarly Supreme can exist in the manifest form and he can also exist in Nirgun Nirakar form. The second element of this mantra is very important, that is, fire actually denotes the energy. It also denotes light. It also denotes heat. Heat, energy, and light. And these are the three principal elements that drive this universe. So these elements originate from the Supreme. Like we get energy. Without energy, there's no life. Without light, we cannot see this universe. It's all darkness. Like in the middle of the night, if there's no electricity, electricity is also a form of light, a form of fire. If there's no electricity also, then what happens? There's a total darkness all around and you can't see anything. So, the third part is the heat. In areas where there's no heat, there can be no life forms. Like you go to Arctic or Antarctic, where there is hardly any heat. Then there is a constraint of existencing and substantiating human life, because without heat it cannot substantiate. And that is why this particular example in the very first mantra of Mundak part 2 and Mundak 2 and part 1 is very, very significant. And then, of course, it talks about variety of lives, how it appeared and in what form it appears. So now we'll go to mantra number 7, 8, 9, 10. We'll cover these 4 mantras today. Now, mantra number 7. उसी परमेश्वर से अनेक भेदों वाले देवता लोग उत्पन्न हुए, साध्यगण, मनुष्य, पशु पक्षी, प्राण अपान वायु, धान जो आदि अन्न तथा तप, श्रद्धा, सत्य, ब्रह्मचर्य एवं यज्ञ आदि के अनुष्ठान की विधि भी उत्पन्न हुई. Now from that same force, from the same source, the cause of all causes, the Paramatma, the Brahman, Akshar, from there, there's a variety of life forms came into being. Devta log, those are which have higher qualities which are higher than the human qualities. Then Sadhyagan also have higher qualities than normal human being. The sadhus, the good quality people. And then Manushya, then the human beings. And then Pasu Pakshi. So this is the order. The order is the Devta, Sadhyagan, Manushya, Pasu Pakshi. They appeared with lesser and lesser, I would say, quantity of consciousness. The least is, of course, in the what we call mineral regime, in the nature, the mountains and the earth and the planets, all those. They have the least. And then second higher is in the plant regime. That is manifested in the plant regime because they grow, you can see them growing, but they do not walk, they do not talk. And then the other beings which come into being are Devta. So Devta is also one of the species which was created by the Supreme. Then Sadhyagan, the Sadhu Purus, the people who are, well balanced, the people whose behavior is, absolutely good and balanced behavior. And then the normal human beings. And then Pasu Pakshi, they came into being. They all came from the same source. Now, I was thinking the other day that when I die or any human being dies, the body goes into the Panch Tattvas. And what keeps me alive is that consciousness. That consciousness is the one which drives my sense organs, which keeps my eyes to see, which gives power to my ears so that I can hear, which gives power to my nostrils so that I can smell, It gives power to my tongue so that I can speak. It gives power to my inner organs so that they can eat food and digest and convert that into blood, flesh, whatever is required. So you see the power of consciousness. That power of consciousness is higher in Devtas because they have higher level of consciousness. In Sadhyagan, they also have higher power than the human beings. And then comes the human being, and then comes the other beings, other species of life, particularly the animals, birds, and reptiles and all that. So this is what they say, that they all originated from the same being, same source is the cause of all species of life. Then it talks about pran and apan vayu. Now we know that actually the vayu is of 10 varieties, but principally 5, and that gives pranic energy to the body. That pranic energy is linked with our breathing system. And the breathing system is linked with the air, but it also linked with the sun. So the sun and the air, they recharge our pranic energy every time. Once that recharging stops, then body is becoming weak and it becoming non-functional at times. And slowly, the various organs stop functioning. So that pran vayu is the one which we take inside, and we know that there's saman pran which helps us in gulping the food and then digesting our food. Then there is a vyan pran which takes the energy in all parts of the body. Then there is a apan pran which takes the waste out of the body. The entire waste disposal system is based on apan vayu. So the pran and apan vayu, and then it says dhan, jo, anna, all those, it is called vanaspati in Vedic science, but it is basically all the plants and herbs. They came into being. Each plant and herb has some special qualities, and that is why they are called the herbs or osadi, because each one of them have power to nourish the living beings, the particularly human beings. So all these came later on. So there's an order here. You can see the order. Devta with highest, level of consciousness, then Sadhyagan lower than that, then the human beings lower than that, then animals and birds lower than that, and then comes the plant regime which is lower than that. So this is the order of manifesting the entire universe. Now here it says that all these things also are leading important aspects of human life: tap, shraddha, and satya. Now tap is the one, that tendency of human being to pass through difficulties for a particular cause. Okay, you have decided that you would like to educate the people in the poor families who are not able to send their children to schools. Now you do a tapasya. Okay, you go and establish a school, you try to educate, bring those children there, you keep a hostel for them, you educate them. Now that is a tapasya. So that kind of tapasya you do for a particular cause. So that is tap. Shraddha. Shraddha is a total trust in the Supreme. You see, this, when you realize that in this whole universe, this, if you ask somebody who has gone to the space, he will tell you that the earth looks like a drop in the ocean. Even when we fly in the aircraft, we see these mountains and the houses, they look like toys. And when you go up higher up, we can't even see them. So we can see, even with this height of 30,000 feet, this is the state of earth. If you go to a different height, much higher, and see different planets, they will look very, very small. And even on the planet Earth, which is one of the smallest planet, the human being is like a small little, bird. It's like a dot. We see the sand, a dot in the sand. It is even less than that. So we should realize that we are not very significant. We are only very, very small, minuscule, life in this universe. And therefore, though the life comes from the same source, as this said in the first mantra, the same fire gives birth to the life. But then compared to the whole universe, we are very, very insignificant. And therefore, we must have trust in the Supreme. The Supreme who created this whole universe, we must have trust. And that is Shraddha. We, we say that I am not the doer. Somebody has done it and he has given me some duties. I am performing those duties and that's it. And that is how the Shraddha develops. And then Satyam. Satyam and Brahmacharya. Now, Satyam means the desire to know what is the truth. We must know what is the truth. That desire to know the truth and Brahmacharya is to, to have disciplined life so that you can acquire knowledge, proper knowledge. That is the Brahmacharya. So these things also came from the Supreme. Every human being has these qualities, some in, what say, lesser quantity, some in higher quantity, some are more determined, some are less determined. But these seeds exist in everybody. If they want to nurture those seeds, those are available. But some people nurture them, some people don't nurture them. So the tap, shraddha, satyam, brahmacharya, these are very important elements and these all came from the Supreme. And then vidhi, that is the procedure, how to live the life, how to make this life a yajna. Now this we will see in the next, mantra, how we can make the life a yajna. Yajna means how we can make this life so balanced, which can give you eternal happiness. There would be no unhappiness anywhere if you can convert the life into yajna. Because that is why this word yajna appears in Vedic literature many, many times. Yajna is not only the one which we perform in front of the fire. That is also yajna. In the fire we put the samagri, the samhita of havan, and we dedicate that samhita to a particular god or goddess, and that is also yajna, so that you get the blessing of that devta. But we all perform yajna in our own way every single day. If I am doing my duty to my spouse, to my children, to my family, to my neighbors, to my nation, that is yajna. If I do those with perfection, with devotion, with good faith, that is a complete yajna. So yajna is part of our life, our daily life. A simple thing that, okay, you will follow the rules of the traffic every day, that also amounts to yajna. That I will not hurt anybody else purposely, that is also yajna. Whatever duties I have to discharge towards my neighbors, I will perform, that is also yajna. So these things which we do in daily life can be converted into yajna. So this is what this mantra is telling, that the whole universe in this particular order, all these qualities, they came into being from the same source, the cause of the causes, the Supreme. Now verse mantra number 8. उसी परमेश्वर से 7 प्राण उत्पन्न हुए, अग्नि की 7 लपटें, 7 प्रकार के हवन, 7 लोक इंद्रियों के 7 द्वार जिनमें प्राण विचरण करते हैं, हृदय रूपी गुफा में शयन करने वाले ये 7 के समुदाय सब प्राणियों में स्थापित किए गए. Now this is a very profound mantra and we should understand it properly. Now what is the 7 pran? You see, this is a reference to our upper part of the body, the face. There are 2 eyes, 2 nostrils, 2 ears that make 6 and 1 mouth 7. So these are the 7 important, what would say, ang, or 7 important limbs of our body, which direct our body in one direction or the other. So the reference is to these 7, what you call apertures in the body. वैसे तो we have 9 dwar in the body because there are 2 gates which are at the bottom, upadast and pat. But then there are 7 gates which are up in the facial part of our body. So here the reference is to these 7 senses which have the pranic energy, which are operating our body system, because the body system is primarily operated by these 7. And then it says Agni ki 7 lapteं or 7 samudai. Now this is very important. From each one of these 7 apertures of our body, the fire comes out. When we look at somebody, the fire looks at it. When it smells something, then the fire smells it. When it speaks something, fires comes out in the form of speech. When we listen to something, the fire absorbs something. So this is the reference to the fire here. Here, the 7 apertures of the upper part of the body and the 7 fires which emanate from these apertures, and then 7 samidhai. Now samidha is the one which is put in the fire. Now this is what we discussed earlier, what we call it basically a combination of Agni and Som, which results into Yajna. Now here also what happens, these 7 senses or the 7 apertures which are emitting fire. Why are they emitting? Because they have certain desires to absorb certain things. We say they want to take something in. Eyes want to see something. Nostril wants to smell something. The ears want to hear something. The speech wants to taste and speak something. So they are the visaya, these are the what you call the subjects for this fire. So these fires are taking these subjects in all the time. What you want to see, what you want to hear, what you want to taste, what you want to smell, what you want to speak. And that is the yajna we are doing constantly. Each time what we see, if we see good, it's a good yajna. If we hear good, if it is a good yajna. If we smell good, it's a good yajna. If we speak good, it's a good yajna. But if we see bad, then it's a bad yajna impacting our body. If we listen bad, then it is a bad yajna, which will again impact negatively our body. If we speak bad, it will again impact negatively on our body. So this is the yajna, samidha. 7 samidhaएं. These are the samidhas, the subjects which are, being consumed by these 7 fires of these seven apertures. So this is the reference of the constant yajna which a human being is performing in his life continuously all the time. And this has also been called as Atma Yajna, that we are performing this yajna all the time. Now it depends how we perform. If we perform it wisely, then it will lead to happiness, it will lead to good results. If we perform it wrongly, then it can lead to clash or stress or problems. So what we see, what we hear, what we smell, what we speak, what we taste, all that has to be regulated properly, so that the samidha, so that the havan samagri which goes into these fires is a good fire and creating a good yajna on daily basis in our life. This is the most important part which we can learn from this mantra, that how we regulate these seven apertures and how we can convert this, this pranic energy of these seven apertures into a proper yajna, which will lead to our happiness. So yes, these are basically seven, gates through which the various samidhas, various inputs go into the body. And then those inputs create happiness or unhappiness or fear or nirvata in our body. So this is very, very important, how we can regulate ourselves and how we can become a good human being through uh, utilizing these apertures in a proper way. And then it says, ultimately, the consciousness, there's a consciousness in all these here, in the same, in the form of pranic energy. But then there is a consciousness which lives in Hriday Rupi Guha. Now this part where our heart is, this is called Guha. This is called, like, you have a gufa in the mountains. Similarly, this is also a gufa in the human body. And the consciousness, the supreme power actually lives in this gufa. The source lives here. And from this source, the entire body is ignited. It goes through the Vyan Pran. Vyan Pran is the one which originates in our heart. It has 101 principal nadis. One nadi goes upwards, remaining 100 nadis goes into different parts of the body. Each of those nadis are further divided into 100 each, so that makes 10,000. And then the 10,000 part, the 10,000th part is again subdivided into 72,000 each. So it's 7.2 billion nadis which are in the entire body system. If I'm getting consciousness in my finger here, it is because of those Vyan pranic nadis. They carry those pranic energy from the heart to different parts. So this mantra tells us that the resting place for the consciousness is the Hriday Rupi Gufa. Hriday Rupi Gufa mein it is resting all the time, and from there it spreads into entire body. So this is a great science which has been explained in this particular mantra, and it also tells us how we can use these apertures to actually regulate the samidha and make our life happy. So if we see good, if we listen good, if you smell good, if you speak good, I think the life is full of happiness. Now let's go to the mantra number 9. Now this mantra covers, what you call the overall picture. Isi se means from the same source. That is the all the time. इसी से समस्त समुद्र और पर्वत उत्पन्न हुए हैं, इसी से अनेक रूपों वाली नदियां बहती हैं, इसी से संपूर्ण औषधियां और रस उत्पन्न हुए हैं, जिस रस से शरीर की पुष्टि होती है। यही अंतरात्मा सब प्राणियों के सहित उनके हृदय में स्थित है। नाउ दिस इज a summary version that tells us that the entire physical nature, reference to the samudra and parvat and planets, is the entire physical nature comes from the same source, from the supreme. Then all the osniya, all the vegetation comes from there. In the verse number or mantra number 7, we already saw the different species of life, they come from the same source. Then here it says from the osdi, from these plants and herbs, different ras, juices come out, and these juices are nourishing the bodies of all living beings, not only humans, but all the living beings are nourished by these juices. And these juices are coming from the vanaspati, from the plants and herbs, which is called as Ausdhi in Vedic language. So this is the what you call circulation, how the bodies are nourished, how the whole universe is, sustaining itself from the same source which gave manifestation to this universe. So that same source, the Supreme Lord, is responsible for everything that we experience in terms of our existence, in terms of our sustaining of our life, and in terms of the physical world which exists around us. And then again it is reinforcing that सब प्राणियों के सहित he is located in your heart. Not only heart of the human being, but heart of every species of life. Every species has a heart, and he is located in every species of life. And then final mantra number 10. This is the concluding mantra of Mundak 2 part 1. तप कर्म और परम अमृत रूप ब्रह्म, ये सब कुछ परम पुरुष पुरुषोत्तम ही है. That he is the tap, he is the karma, we saw, he is the force which is telling us to do certain things. He is the force which is telling us to suffer for a cause. He is the one who is everything. It is Purushottam. Purus avedam viswam karm tapo brahm paramatram. This is the Sanskrit part of it. प्रिय, इस हृदय रूप गुफा में स्थित अंतर्यामी परम पुरुष को जो जान लेता है, वह यहां इसी जन्म में अविद्या जनित गांठ को खोल डालता है. Now this is the concluding mantra which tells us that if we can understand that Param Purus, that supreme power, which is the source of everything, which is the governor of everything, which is the one which is sustaining this universe, which is the one which is giving all the energies to this universe, which is reflected in Devtas, which is reflected in Sadhyagan, in human beings, in plants and herbs and animals, and also in the rivers and mountains and oceans. That is the one. If we understand that, then all our ignorance is completely eliminated. अगर हम उसको जान लें इस जन्म में, तो अविद्या जनित गांठ, that the whole ignorance is set aside and we become what we call the Prajnanam Brahma. This is one of the four great vakyas in Veda, that Ayam Atma Brahma and Prajnanam Brahma, that all the knowledge in this universe is Brahman. So once we know this, that everything originates from there, everything is the source of everything, is the cause of all the causes, then we will be able to get rid of entire ignorance and we will become one with the Supreme. So this is what this part of Mundaka Upanishad tells us. And I would like to emphasize on the mantra number 8 once again, that these 8 apertures which are in our body, they are emitting energy, and that wants to take samidha, that is the visay, that is the objects which we want to consume. The eyes want to consume, what they want to see, that is the object. What we want to see is the object. What we want to hear is the object. What we want to smell is the object. And how we want to say is also the object. So all these objects can be regulated. Then our daily life can become like a yet. And this is what is very important for anybody who wants to improve his life. So we have seen those 3 monkeys, कि पुरानी देखो, पुरानी सुनो, पुरानी bolo. The same way, this is the mantra which tells us that, see good, listen good, smell good, speak good. Then your life will be full of joy and full of happiness. And then all our ignorance will slowly, slowly disappear if we have full trust in the Supreme, that is the source of all that we see in this universe. He is the source of sustaining this universe. And once this universe life comes to an end, this is the source which absorbs this universe, like the example of the fire and the chingari which was given. Exactly the same way the Supreme regulates this universe, and we are all part of that Supreme. We are regulated by him, and ultimately he is the one who absorbs us back. So if we can absorb some part of this, this teaching of second Mundak part 1, then we can understand what is this universe, how the manifestation happens, how this universe is sustained, how this universe is dissolved, and who we are. I think this is a great learning with these words. Thank you very much. And I wish you a good Shravan month. Thank you.